Hi, my name is Michael Ogechi Abbey. I am the owner of Enterprise Express Tax Services based in Maryland within the Washington, D.C. DMV area. I'm here, essentially, I just want to give a brief summary of the Inflation Reduction Act. This is an act that was recently passed by Congress under, of course, President Biden's administration, aimed squarely at reducing inflation. I mean, as you all know, inflation is something that's become quite a headache for this administration. You've seen it in inflated gas prices and even going to the grocery stores. In summary, costs have increased for the average American. And it could be an issue. It could also be the tipping point for a recession, even though in my personal opinion, we're not there yet. It's hard to say you're in a recession when you have almost full employment. But also, the flip side of that is the fact that if costs keep going up, then people are going to start feeling the pinch, and that in turn could lead to a dominoes falling, because that may impact the economy adversely, and you'll see companies stop hiring, and that in turn could mean a recession. So here's what's going on. The new law, it's called the Inflation Reduction Act, and I'm going to be reading through my summary list here. It includes a $369 billion investment in climate and energy policies. As we all know, the Biden administration has made one of the linchpins, and of course when he was campaigning to become president, this was a big factor in his campaign promise, was that he would invest heavily in climate and energy policies that would in turn reduce the United States dependence on, for instance, fossil fuels, and also would also go a large extent towards reducing, I guess, whatever we contribute towards warming. Okay. Now, $64 billion is also going to extend a policy under the Affordable Care Act to reduce health insurance costs. One of the things that the Biden administration said as they were campaigning was that health insurance costs, especially prescription costs, were unnecessarily high, and that he would certainly do what he could to reduce those health insurance and those prescription costs as well. So $64 billion is going to go towards that. And another thing to take note of is a 15% corporate minimum tax that's aimed at companies that earn more than $1 billion a year. I think this is pretty significant, and the reason why is, for a long time, one of the issues with the Tax Act is the fact that most what we call large cap companies, meaning companies that earn over $1 billion a year, are not paying the commensurate taxes. This is because the IRS code has had so many loopholes for these companies, where they're not paying enough taxes, enough corporate taxes. Amazon is an example of one of those companies that almost, for some years, they paid zero taxes. And that's not fair on the, which you could say, on the average American who pays quite a bit of taxes as well. So there's a 15% corporate minimum tax that's aimed at companies that earn more than $1 billion a year. Now, the flip side, of course, is that this could chase away companies. They may start deciding to move overseas or move to offshore locations where they won't be taxed that highly. So there is some danger that could happen. Whether it will happen, who knows? Okay. The $437 billion spending package is expected to raise $737 billion in revenue over the next decade. Some people are saying that's a little bit, shall we say, expecting too much. All right, where is that money going to come from? I was actually expecting that a lot more of this money would go towards infrastructure, because that we do have crumbling infrastructure in the United States. You just have to drive, on the beltway or on the highways and see that the road network is not as well maintained as it was before. You have bridges that are literally crumbling. And so my expectation was that a lot more of these funds would go towards infrastructure rebuilding, which in turn would produce more employment for a lot more people. So I'm a bit, I'm wondering where this revenue would be raised from. Now, one thing to note, and this affects me, who I'm in the tax industry, tax administration, tax preparation, personal finances, is $80 billion is going to go towards the Internal Revenue Service over the next 10 years, but primarily towards enforcement. Now, that's the two things that to look at. When I hear the word enforcement, what I'm hearing is that you're giving the IRS more money just to go in and get people, okay? Because that's really what it is, okay? Enforcement means, well, we're going to be looking every nook and cranny to see where we can raise these funds for. There's going to be pressure on the IRS and IRS enforcement agents to bring in money hopefully from people who owe taxes. But I don't see a situation where IRS enforcement agents will not have quotas that they're going to have to meet to bring in more money. And in my experience, a lot of times when there are quotas, you're going to have a situation where agents need to catch up or meet up just to meet a certain volume, and that can sometimes make them be overzealous in what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, I'm not saying this is what the IRS does. I'm saying that there is a possibility that that can happen. So $80 billion over the next 10 years is going to the IRS towards enforcement. The reason why I'm a bit skeptical about that, the IRS definitely needs money. There's no question about that. They need money to get the job done. Right now they are underfunded, they're understaffed, their system networks are crucially out of date. I would think that the money should go more towards making the IRS more efficient in how they work, as opposed to enforcement. But I see what's happening. The administration feels that more money can be raised if the IRS is better at enforcing, at collecting money from people and from companies as well. So maybe it's what do we do? What takes more priority? I don't know. Personally, from the standpoint of someone who does taxes and who deals with the IRS on a daily basis, my opinion is that most of that money should go towards making the IRS more efficient, updating their systems, making sure that the IRS has more protection against hackers, for instance. Those are the things that I think will make the IRS a much more efficient running agency. During the 2021 tax preparation season, I was seeing hold times for regular folk upwards of 2 hours, just staying on the phone, waiting to get through to an IRS assistant. And for those of us who are tax professionals, our hold times went from 10 to 15 minutes to longer than an hour and a half. And most times, sometimes you get through and you get cut off and you have to call back again. The IRS has a system where you can call and they can call you back within a certain time frame. All you have to do is kind of book the call, leave your phone number. That's not happening. You do that and then the IRS does not even call you back. That's how bad it is. The IRS has a backlog of over 10.6 million tax returns. I'm not sure of the exact number, but I know it's somewhere around that. and that extends to prior year tax returns. We're not even talking about paper returns. Paper returns, if you file an amended return that requires paper processing, not electronic filing, you may be waiting for a 6 to 8 month wait for it just to be processed into the system. All right? So definitely the IRS needs more money to make it more efficient, as opposed to just enforcement. All right, let's look at a couple of other things that are in the Act that are important. For individual income taxes, for instance, the limitation on pass-through business losses that was enacted in 2017 has been extended. That limitation is now extended for 2 years through 2028. All right. So what this is, without getting too technical, is let's say you had an LLC and you had a partner you were a partner in business with someone else, and you both had an LLC. You did have the ability to pass through your business losses through your Schedule K-1s and your LLC, and even into your personal business tax returns, for instance. Okay, that ability you can still do